You're wondering if you can do epoxy. Well, Doug has never touched this product before, and check out what he created his first time.
This is your man glitter.
Yeah, it's the man glitter. That stuff's cool, man.
Refinishing countertops, tabletops, desktops, and more couldn't be easier, and in this video we show you how.
This is a pretty sick piece. Holy cow. Look at that.
If you can paint it, you can coat it.
And this isn't at all what I expected when I started putting all those colors together.
No?
No, I mean, it's close, but I thought there was going to be more green and darker. This looks better than I imagined.
Learn how to make the perfect color combination.
What we do in this building is we experiment with color, we experiment with technique, and we share that with the world.
This is the latest Stone Coat Countertop recipe. You're about to see the secrets, the tips and tricks right here, right now.
It's designed to not just leak all of your epoxy off your piece.
Right.
It's very self-leveling. I mean, look at how flat it already is.
Absolutely.
Look at those thin black veins. See, that's why I do a black wash coat first.
It's never been this much fun recreating stone for your own home.
We've really spent a lot of time choosing what would make earth tones, what would make good countertop colors, and we love our palette.
There's unlimited informational gold nuggets found in this content right here, right now. Stay tuned. Enjoy the video.
You got this!
No. No. Where is it?
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
Doug, can you believe what we just made, man?
I wouldn't have imagined when I started this process it would have been this simple and it would have come out this good.
Guys, this is my buddy Doug. I work with him. He wanted to get his hands dirty. He'd never done epoxy countertops before. In this video, you're going to learn step by step how we turned wood into marble. Stay tuned. Enjoy the video. Why don't we do this? Why don't we make something that your wife would like? So you said something about greens and stuff like that?
Yeah, I'd say that's her color. Yeah.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll make something that you could show your wife.
Right.
You made this. You've never made anything like this with epoxy.
I've never made anything like this.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, I'm one of those guys that sits on the sidelines and maybe a little intimidated to start, so this is a perfect thing for me.
So I got a scrap here, okay? And this is what I advise our customers to do is find something, maybe go to Goodwill, find an old table, go to the thrift store, find something that they could play with to get confidence.
Right.
But you're gonna know this is about the size of a decent countertop, right?
Okay,
I mean, this is a little side countertop or a coffee table.
Sure.
So when you're done making this into something cool, you'll know I could translate that to a 3-foot by 8-foot counter. So
I can do this, right?
you got this.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is create a roundover on it. So right now this is a 90. I just get a simple roundover bit, and that helps the epoxy. Before I did that, you would create surface tension where it would come to it right here and it would want to draw back from that 90 when it's curing. So putting a slight radius promotes it from rolling. But then I didn't do that on the bottom edge originally.
Right.
And you would get buildup right down here on the bottom edge. And so by putting a slight radius on the bottom, it draws your drips back so that this is still flat on that front edge.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense, yeah.
And then typically on a countertop, I'll do a drop edge. So I'll make this appear whatever thickness I want. So usually I just rip a piece of MDF, another, an inch wide, and then I shoot it to the bottom. So it looks like it's 1.5 inches, but really it's a 3/4 inch sheet of MDF.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
But in this case, we won't do that drop edge because we're just making a sample. But some people like it just 3/4 of an inch thick.
Right.
So we'll router it and then we'll Bondo it. The reason I apply Bondo to it, it's because MDF is quite porous on the edge, and so if you apply a couple coats of our undercoat, it will seal it. But if you want a perfectly smooth edge, pre-Bondo that, sand it, and it just like glass rolls over. We'll do a 1/4 inch roundover on top. We're going to represent this as being the front and the 2 exposed sides. Maybe this is sitting like on a little dresser or something like that. A lot of people will take an old dresser, old tabletop, desktop, something like that, and the top is just beat up, or maybe they have a table that has leaves in it, and they want to refinish it, but it's hard to refinish something with leaves in it with epoxy. You can, but instead of fighting that, you just make an overlay for it. Just make a piece that drops over the top. And so if that's the case, maybe this is going over an old dresser, and I just don't like to have a 90 back here either. I want it to promote to roll, but I don't want this big heavy roundover, so I'll use that slight 1/8 inch, or you could even cut that with a piece of sandpaper just to break that edge. So that's what we do on the back, and that's also what we do underneath. So I'll have you do underneath.
Turn it over,
I suggest using a trim router for this step. They're easy to handle.
All right, so all I'm doing now, you feel how rough that is? I'm just taking that to this, so it's not and it's just 220, and I'm just gonna make that slightly more smooth so that when I apply the Bondo, it goes on real good. You know, a lot of people think the epoxy will fix it. I could have rough routering. I could, and oh, the epoxy, but the epoxy just goes through or transfers.
Take the same shape that
yeah. So one of the rookie mistakes is keeping rough edges, thinking epoxy is going to make it perfect. Start with smooth edges. You'll continue that smooth edge. You know, instead of keeping it on the backer, we don't want to like put straight lines in the edge. So I just take this and I'll just run it on that edge. And it doesn't take, I mean, feel how smooth that is compared to, you know, so I just run that edge. I don't like keeping 90s right here because when I do, like, let's say I'm gonna sand and polish this piece, the epoxy wants to burn through right here. Because it just comes to such a point. And so just
round off the corners.
Just a little bit helps a lot. So I just use our all-purpose Bondo putty. I've tested all kinds of different products for this. This bonds really well to the MDF, and then once you epoxy, it's like rock hard. It does not fail, but it's so easy to get a shape in this. We rub it on, and then we tap it just to create those high points, and then knock that down, like a knockdown drywall finish or something. What I found is a gloved hand following this, and then coming back with my spreader, gets it good enough, and then your sanding is what gets it back to. Yeah, so that's how I do it.
Mix in the cream hardener by folding the Bondo over itself repeatedly until it's all mixed up.
All right, so we're good. I'm gonna grab some. I'm gonna do this front edge, and you don't need a lot. I'm just trying to saturate it, and initially it feels like it doesn't want to bond really good, but it does. It bonds very, very good.
I've tried many different application techniques, and the easiest is with a gloved hand.
Just come across that edge there. Nice, good. All right, let's go figure out how to pick out the perfect green stone, okay? Now there's a few choices, and how I start with my customers is I ask them, look, do you want a granite pattern? Do you want a marble pattern? And the way that I do that is I take all my before and after pictures of my samples, and I turn them into black and white. And the reason I do that is because then you're not influenced by color, you're going for patterns. This pattern here would be like a marble pattern, right? Because there's no hard lines. Granite look is more hard and abrupt lines, and so I'll show you what I mean. This one here, it's marble as a dirty pour with like a fractured look over it with our marble spray, okay? This one here is a dirty pour, and it's kind of a combination. It honestly makes you look like a faux artist that's been doing this for years, and it's so easy. But you get this marble look, and then you also get some of that granite look. You get kind of a hybrid stone. And in the real stone world, they call this exotic stone. Anytime it doesn't follow like a repeated pattern like a Baltic brown or a speckled granite, they call it exotic stone. This one here is just a very popular marble look, and that's done with a paintbrush. This is like a quartz look, like a man-made quartz, and then this is like a Black Galaxy granite look. This is like a soapstone look. This is a granite pattern. This is like a builder grade granite that you get, and it really mimics what they call Ubatuba. There's a granite called Ubatuba from Brazil, and that's exactly how it looks. This is like a Baltic brown look, and so same technique, just different colors. So what looks are you leaning towards?
I like the dirty pour.
You do? What makes you like that other than I forced you?
But because I want to see if I can do it.
Yeah, it looks complex, right?
It looks complex, but the results look amazing. So, you know, for me, I want to see if I can do it. All right,
let's do this. So let's go to our additives and start picking colors that go with that look. Because when I'm working with a customer, I don't, if the main part is green, it doesn't mean there's not accent colors involved. That support that. So I'm just going to throw our greens there, and do any of those stand out to you that you like?
Yeah, I'd say I would lean more toward these than I would these.
Okay, let's go with that. Now, what would support that? I know that green and gold go well together, but I typically don't like gold. I'm not a fan of gold. It reminds me of the 1980s and light fixtures on the wall, you know?
That,
but because you don't like it either, I want to try to convince you our gold dust, it's
Okay.
very subtle, but it puts some sparkle that looks like natural stone.
All right.
So if you
Give it a
don't
shot.
mind,
No, I'll give it a
we'll
shot.
try. I'll try to convert you. I love our diamond dust because it complements this, but it also it puts a shimmer in there
Okay.
that doesn't. I mean, this in the bag kind of looks like, I call it man glitter, but because you got to have something masculine if it's going to be in construction product, right? But
Sounds right, yeah.
But who puts glitter in any project? I do. You're going to see why. Something that I always do in every single piece is I put black and white in it.
Yep.
The reason I do is because it contrasts and it kind of defines the actual colors. If I don't put black and white, it tends to look muted or pastel.
Right.
And natural stone typically has black and white in it. Good. One other thing I do is I do an earth tone.
Okay.
I do one earth tone just so that we could bring in that natural stone.
Yeah, I guess I'd lean more toward the coffee.
Okay, I like that. Boom, we got coffee, we got rainforest, we got mystic moss, we got gold dust metallic, diamond dust, we got black and white.
Did you say we're also doing something with spray paint?
The reason I always add spray paint is because it does those reactions where it fights the dye and the metallic and like forces them apart to create the cellular structure you see in there.
Right.
So instead of introducing more color, I say we just do black spray paint, and then that will automatically do our thing for us.
Okay.
We got our recipe. We'll put that aside.
Okay.
This is probably ready to sand now.
If you feel just the front edge, you'll feel how smooth that is.
Right.
So you don't want to go that way with the round. So what I do is I turn my sander down to a 1, and now I adjust this.
Pro tip, if you turn your sander speed down, you won't deform any edge that you've routered in.
That doesn't feel like an MDF edge anymore, right?
No, it feels great.
Start at 6, and then you could go back to your edge.
If you've never used power tools before, that's okay. You could hand sand this. I just like to get it done quick, but take your time. This is your first project. It's okay. You got this.
So all I'm doing on the top is just making sure I don't have just this giant high point. It's not perfect, but that doesn't matter.
It's good enough, right?
Yeah, so you want to do the rest of that on that.
I'm going to use my my metal sanding disc. I found that this sanding disc, for stuff like this would take a while because these are kind of high.
Right.
This buzzes it off in seconds. It's actually how I shape live edge wood.
Okay.
It's how I grind. Like, I use that on epoxy to remove drips.
Right.
Where if I use a sander, it'll take hours. If I use that, it takes minutes.
See how fast that is?
Fast, yeah.
All right, you've seen our undercoat. The reason I like this,
Right.
We used to use paint and primer in one. The reason I love our undercoat is this has no ammonia in it, and it also dries super fast. It doesn't hold up my process, my progress. You can do 2 coats and sand in between coats, and you're good to go. We're gonna use black as our under because it's really gonna pop those greens. It's
Okay.
really gonna bring that to life. I like to use white on marble and light colors.
Right.
This color, I think we'll use black. I'm just gonna pour a little bit out because I could always add more. I'll do half, you do half.
Sounds good.
So I'm just gonna prime my brush first with it. And what I like to do is I like to start on the edges. So I'll get most of it off my brush, my roller, and then I'll do the edge. That way, right now I could grab this, I could lift up, I could really just manipulate the piece without getting into it.
fingerprints all over
Yep.
it,
A lot of people stress about like roller marks and brush marks and Bondo marks and all that. But see, the epoxy is on the surface gonna overcome a lot of high and low points, as opposed to the edges. The material is self-leveling, very self-leveling, so it does want to roll off those edges, so you're not going to get as much height or coverage on an edge. That's why we Bondo the edge, and the surface can be much more imperfect.
Okay.
Our 1/4-inch microfiber rollers are perfect for our undercoat as well as our top coat. We have these available at stonecoatcountertops.com to make your job easy.
All right, so I do part B first because it's a thinner material.
Okay.
And part A wants to kind of drop into it anyways, and so
Right.
it's easier to mix if you go part B first. If you forget that, it's no big deal. So we'll go part B and then we'll go part A. I'm gonna go 24 and 24.
Nice, easy 1-to-1 ratio.
Yeah. So you can see how thin part B is, and then part A is like honey, man.
Just be sure to use a mixing container where you can see the sizes on it clearly and get your 1-to-1 ratio and mix with a drill for 2 minutes.
All right, so we've turned turn this piece of MDF into painted MDF. Now we're going to turn it into stone, okay?
Nice.
So what we've got is we've got clear epoxy.
Okay.
We're going to pour that out into these buckets, and then we're going to add our metallics. We could actually add our metallics right now, because then when we start to mix, it won't like poof as much.
Got it.
Because you buried in epoxy.
Having your colors prepped and organized makes for a clean, comfortable pour. You're not in a hurry, you're not in a rush, because you're all organized. So mix those together, mix them thoroughly, have fun, and let's do an exotic pour by pouring all of these colors after they're mixed back into the original container so we can pour that out and look like epoxy pros. Now you know.
This is your man glitter.
Yeah, it's the man glitter. That stuff's cool, man. We've really spent a lot of time choosing what would make earth tones, what would make good countertop colors, and we love our palette. You ready to do a dirty pour?
Let's do it.
All right, so here's how it goes. You're gonna start pouring one color. Actually, we're gonna save the black.
All right.
You're gonna pour, I'll do a little bit, and then you're gonna take over,
all right.
okay? So I'm gonna start with green. Okay, I'm gonna pour a little bit of green in there.
Is there any order of addition? Doesn't matter.
What I like to do is I don't want to do green, 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 green. Like I want to go green, and then what will contrast that green the most? I'm gonna put a little gold on top of that. Some coffee right behind that. We'll go a little bit more white. You see how I made double the amount of white as I did anything else?
Right.
Let's go more green.
For the diamond paste, when does that go in?
Oh, let's do it. Good call. Boom. Diamond paste is in. But it's called diamond dust, so nice try.
We use some spray paint in between pouring the cups into our bucket to create opposing reactions that mimic Mother Nature and natural stone.
If we add black into this, we might darken it a little bit too much. So I put it underneath everything. It's a real fun pro tip to get a really cool result. Stone Coat Epoxy is designed for countertops.
Right.
What I mean by that is everybody asks, can you set hot pans on it?
Yep.
Yes, you can. Can you have enough working time to do these at scale? Meaning you're doing a big kitchen, you need the working time. If I use some epoxies like this, you're gonna exotherm, you're gonna get heated up, you're gonna smoke out of the bucket. We mixed this a good bit ago and we're still good to go.
You're saying you get at least 90 minutes off this, right?
Yeah, just don't leave it in the bucket for 90 minutes, obviously, but you have much more working time than standard. I'm gonna take that wash coat and I'll show you how I do this. I'll do half, you do half, all right? So let me see your tongue depressor. This is a very expensive tool. This is now our squeegee, okay? So all I do is just try to wet out the piece. Okay, so nothing fancy about it. I'm not pushing it all the way to the edge yet. I'm just gonna get it close to the edge so I don't lose any material. See, I'm scraping, so you don't need to leave a lot on, but it's like pre-lubricating the piece so you don't get surface tension. So you wanna go ahead and
so
do
you're
your
just trying
side.
to wet it out then?
Yep, exactly. So Doug and I worked together,
right.
and you know, you had voiced a little bit of, hey man, I've never done this before, and if you tell me that, you're gonna get put to work, man. Is this fun or what?
It is fun, and I was gonna say, at first I thought it was gonna be intimidating, but you made the process easy, and it's forgivable.
It is forgivable.
Yeah.
It is. You know, what I love is imperfect is perfect. Natural stone, you know, a lot of times it doesn't follow a distinctive exact pattern. It's natural. It was formed under heat and pressure, and Mother Nature has a way of making things imperfect look perfect. And so just following that same pattern, because we're in liquid form, you could kind of manipulate some of those same techniques and make it look very realistic because you're doing this in liquid.
Okay.
Now what's cool about putting it all into a bucket is you simply get a surprise as it comes out.
Okay.
You know, and that's what I love about it, is it takes and makes a first timer be able to do this with fantastic results. So here's how it goes. I'm gonna start with a center vein.
Okay.
Okay, you're gonna see how much I apply.
Yep.
Now, and you know what, I'll do 2 veins and then you're gonna do the rest, and you're gonna see what my spacing is. Because we know that this is gonna expand. We don't wanna lose all of our material in the trough.
Right.
And so I start just a ways from that. I do 1 straight vein. I don't do them squiggly because we're gonna tilt it into imperfection. We're gonna tilt it into like that stacking sediment style.
Gotcha.
Okay, so I'll do 2.
Great comment!
Hey, we got a great comment from Exotic Tones. He asks, who sells the diamond dust? Well, that's a funny question, because actually the only place you can get that legendary diamond dust is from Stone Coat Countertop Epoxy. And if you've seen any of our videos, you know that can really enhance almost any project that you do. We'll leave a link for that right in the description section.
See, I'm not in a hurry. Sometimes a little more is coming out than before, and that's okay.
So you're not trying to keep the same amount, same volume?
No, this is about how far I get them apart. Your first epoxy pour, Doug, but you don't want to fill in all the voids because that's where that black will create your veins for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it looks cool coming out even slow like that. I don't want to fill in all of this, so I'll start kind of fast, and then where it's more open, I'll go
A little thicker, okay.
So I'll go here, and then I'll just go slow it down a hair. Keep going, just like that. So all I'm doing is just warming up the epoxy where I want it to flow, okay? You can see how it pops the bubbles too.
You're trying to take the air out of it while you're doing this?
It kills two birds with one stone. On this coat, that's not as important because I'm gonna torch it and stuff like that, but when I do my clear coat tomorrow, you know, I do a clear coat for added durability and added depth, okay? And I want to lock in any spray paint. You wouldn't want to use that like as a finished countertop.
Yep.
But you see, look at those thin black
great.
veins. See, that's why I do a black wash coat first. This is a pretty sick piece. Holy cow. Look at that. So what I'm going to do is take out these spray paint cans, because then my tilt table is ready to rock and roll. Okay, kind of support that edge for me, Doug. The reason I made these tilt tables is because Mitch and I, we used to do like giant pieces. It used to be very hard to just hold them, you know? Yeah. And so now I get to so I don't want to just go straight. I'm going to go at an angle and just hold that position. Now this moves rather slow, and what it's designed to not just leak all of your epoxy off your piece.
Right.
It's very self-leveling. I mean, look at how flat it already is.
Absolutely, yeah.
But the fact is, I don't want to lose it all over my edges. So we made the viscosity according to how thick we wanted it, so it wouldn't just run off your piece. But when you heat it up, it flows much faster.
Okay, I got a question and I need an honest answer. Is this how you thought that color palette would come out? Can you see the value in testing different colors together to create a custom recipe?
What would you do, guys? Would you keep tilting it? Would you stop here? Let me know in the comments below. Option 1, leave it alone, I love it. Or option 2, keep tilting it. Let me know in the comments below. I'm gonna go just like that. Hands-free tilt right there. Now you could grab that heat gun, kind of paint with air. Good, we'll go back the other way. And I'm gonna actually go that way a little bit.
And this isn't at all what I expected when I started putting all those colors together.
No?
No, I mean, it's close, but I thought there was gonna be more green and darker. This looks better than I imagined.
You know what I like about this is what we do in this building is we experiment with color, we experiment with technique, and we share that with the world, okay? Right. We give you the recipe that we create. We hope that we unlock some sort of imagination blockade for somebody.
Absolutely.
So they see that, I want that. I never realized it would come out like that color, you know? And so
I would have picked this over what we started with.
You would have?
Exactly.
Okay, yeah. Good. We nailed it. So, you know, before we started, we asked you, would you want the granite look? Would you want the marble look? Would you want the dirty pour look? Would you want the fracturing? Would you want the soapstone? Do you want the quartz look? Do you want the black galaxy? And you chose like the dirty pour look, which I love, but ultimately it looks the most advanced, but it's the easiest.
That's what you told me. It looked the most advanced. That's why I wanted to give it a try.
Do you believe me now?
Well, I believe I can do it.
You guys heard it. He got this.
Easy.
So when I pull the tape, you pull kind of down and away to promote that kind of coming over the edge.
Gotcha.
The tape is just a temporary blockade or a tape dam to stop the epoxy from rolling over the edge until we're ready. So it's time to peel it after we've got our effects just how we like it.
And then actually what I do here,
just touch up the little bit areas?
No, I take my hand and I rub it. You look like you're screwing the whole thing up, but you're just promoting that whole thing to kind of roll over a little bit to bring that pattern over. Yeah. So even though it looks like we're messing up the pattern, we're not. What'd you learn, Doug?
The first thing you did, you took the intimidation out of it. And so, you know, coming in, there's a variety of choices. You almost can't go wrong. Mm-hmm. And I know you get kits to help people try to figure out the easy way to do some of this stuff, but just experimenting. We picked a bunch of different colors that looked like they might go together. The mix was easy, the one-to-one was easy. The pour followed your footsteps the first time, but I think I could have tried it at home, and maybe tried it on a smaller piece just to make sure I was comfortable with it. But I think I could do this myself, and I feel pretty confident. Yeah.
I love working with folks who have never used the epoxy medium before. It's super fun to watch the reaction when they get it, how easy this truly is. Follow the instructions, follow this recipe, and get pouring. You got this.
Hey, just a heads up, if you're a first timer just like Doug or a seasoned epoxy professional, we got a super in-depth training portal that'll teach you everything you need to know about epoxy. That can really help you take your skills to the next level. We'll leave a link for that in the description.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Doug, he did fantastic. Crush that like button. Tell him he did good in the comments. Guys, visit us anytime at stonecoatcountertops.com. And remember, until next time, you got this. He said you got it. Remember, until next time, you got it. See you guys on the next video.
I got it wrong.
I love it. I love it.
Congratulations, you made it to the end of another Stone Coat Countertops video. I don't know about you guys, but watching Doug do his first epoxy project got me really inspired. And if you're inspired and want to make the same recipe, click this link here and you can get all the products that you've seen in this video. And if you just want to keep binge watching, click this one right here. And from the Stone Coat Countertops team,
You got this.